Right, let's get reaction now. We're joined by the Deputy Minister of Justice and Correctional Development, John Jeffery, on the Public Protector's report. Deputy Minister, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. I suppose I don't have to tell you, because you know this, you triggered this particular process in 2020, June 18th, exactly 6 days after we learned of the passing of Ms. Altisha Gorky, who says that she had gone to a magistrate's court to obtain a order, to protection order, and of course reports were that she was not helped by the officials, and seemingly on the 12th, leading to her demise. Now, you wanted to find out these allegations that were being said about the Belleville Magistrates Court, and the public protector then, let's start there, did the investigation, and it seems she has cleared you on those particular allegations.
Yeah, she's cleared the Department of Justice. The issue of concern for us was that it was at the height of the COVID lockdown. Ms. Courtier queued outside. You had to queue outside the courts at that stage, signed the register, went in, was there for about an hour on examination of the CCTV cameras, but then left without getting a protection order. And our concern was why. She'd obviously clearly gone because she wanted to get one. And that's what the public protector was requested to investigate. Yeah. They found that nobody had not helped her, turned her away or anything. But then they decided to do, in discussion with myself, to do a systemic investigation into the services offered at the courts regarding gender-based violence. Yeah. There does seem to be a reference to Ms. Courtier complaining to somebody that she didn't realize that there was so much that would have to be written in a domestic violence application. So this investigation was into how it actually works in the courts, and they visited a number of courts to assess that.
Hence the findings now on that part of the investigation to say the conduct of the department constitutes maladministration in relation, of course, to the Immovable Assets Act, the various sections that have firstly got to do with the department being the custodian, the department expected to be the caretaker relating to the maintenance and management of those assets, but also those immovable assets being well kept in a manner that they are operational to support efficient service delivery. Finding that this is not what is happening. Of the 38 courts, at least a majority of them have got problems. Are you aware of these problems? One, let's start with the old dilapidating buildings.
Okay, let me just say that the findings were not just about infrastructure. There were a whole lot of other issues raised and remedial action. Yes. And also included the police and social development.
Absolutely. But they are not here to speak for themselves. So let's speak about the department. Yeah.
Yes, we are well aware of the problems. She mentioned the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court, which is a new magistrates court. Unfortunately, when it comes to the buildings, the department itself is not responsible. It's the Department of Public Works. But yes, we are aware of a number of problems in a number of courts around the country relating to infrastructure. Even today at Belleville, which is a well-constructed court, it's been raining in Cape Town. The walls in one area are damp. The rain seems to be going through the bricks, as it were.
So are you saying then, therefore, the responsibility does not fall with you as the custodian as per the Immovable Assets Act? Because it seems to place the department as the custodian and therefore the caretaker.
Well, look, the issue is not who's responsible. The issue is government needs to ensure that these matters are attended to. And we've been working with Public Works recently before the elections to speed up the delivery of courts. A number of courts were opened by the minister or myself. So that has been going on. But the issue with this report, and why I think it's to be welcomed, is it made concrete proposals or gave concrete remedial action about what needs to be done. And that does include the buildings, the issues of computers, other kinds of facilities at the courts, as well as a number of other issues.
Yeah. It doesn't inspire confidence, though, Deputy Minister, to say in 180 days, now you'll be able to do things that, for example, at the Mamelodi court, you couldn't be able to do in 10 years. At the Garankuwa court, which burned down, you were unable to do in 10 years. What is it that should give us confidence that in 180 days, you will be able to do a complete audit, you will be able to give clear dates and turnaround times, you will be able to budget for these things and have them done?
Look, in terms of the Public Protector Act, a copy of the draft report is sent to the department. So it was sent to the Director General of Justice. It was sent to the Commissioner of Police, and I think to Social Development as well. Our Director General responded wanting some extensions on the time periods, setting out what the department has been doing, and committing the department to working with the Public Protector to monitor the implementation. So I think that is a very good start. Let's also say, and the Public Protector did acknowledge it, that the department has already been doing a number of things to improve the service given when it comes to gender-based violence protection orders. Parliament, after Ms. Kotia went to court, passed 3 gender-based violence bills, one of which was an amendment to the Domestic Violence Act, which improved things. You can make applications online or email them in terms of the Act. Yeah. There's also a portal which will be coming into operation soon where people actually can apply online for protection orders. So that would make things easier. Yeah. So a lot is being done, but obviously much more needs to be done. And what's good about this report is that it focuses everybody in government on ensuring that practically a better service is offered on gender-based violence.
Yeah, indeed. That at least is giving me some light in terms of what at least you're going to be doing as far as that particular recommendation is concerned, of ensuring that the electronic protection order system is put in place. But of course, you can put the system in place. If the network does not work, and as it seems, network problems are widespread, including malfunctioning telephones and photocopying machine, etc. Something which I suppose, thinking of how government works, you would need to work in collaboration with CETA, or where would you be getting those services from?
Yes, well, there are obviously, as far as telephones, one of the problems is theft of cables. So that does affect the landlines at the courts. But there is a comprehensive plan addressing that. As far as the photocopiers, I mean, each court has been given greater powers to address, or funds rather, to address things that have gone wrong at the court and fix it themselves or get somebody to fix it. The photocopiers, one would wonder what the situation is with the contracts for the repairs of those photocopiers. So yes, every court has a court manager, and that court manager needs to ensure that things at that court work, and if they don't work, that they escalate it and that it's responded to.
So things like poor network problems, which in a sense, it seems they are not only just affecting connectivity, but they are also affecting record keeping, where things have got to be done manually, and instead of integrating into an electronic filing system and so on and so forth. And the challenge there being that the courts are unable to connect to the system where the cases should be filed because of either slow network or a network that is not there at all.
Yes, I mean, and that is why you had mentioned CETA. I think shortly before the elections, the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Communications had a meeting to discuss the services offered by CETA at the court. and a program was set up to address those issues.
What is that program, Deputy Minister?
I don't have the detail of those. I wasn't in that meeting. I don't have the details, but from the report that I got, it was detail around addressing the issues of connectivity, network, those kinds of things. We have court recording technology machines which record what is going on in the court. Those have to be uploaded onto a cloud, and sometimes there are problems with that. So it would be addressing those kinds of issues.
Yeah, I'm asking because the integrated case management system conversation is not now because of the report of the public protector. It's something that the department has been talking about for a while. It's something that, in fact, even the minister would have said more and more courts are beginning to get into that particular system. But it seems to a majority of these magistrates' court, at least 38 that the public protector went to, the system is inaccessible. So I mean, it's been a problem that's been there for a while. And what is the challenge? What are the bottlenecks?
Well, there would be issues such as connectivity. I mean, in many cases, one is dependent on cellular connectivity, and cellular reception in certain areas is not good. So those kinds of things have to be improved. So there is a wide range of issues. Things are improving in other ways. So, for example, courts have moved more into the virtual realm of people being able to testify virtually in both criminal and civil cases, which was not something that was happening before. That is also dependent on connectivity, but generally that aspect is working, I think, relatively well.
Yeah. What is the plan when it comes to the question of consultation rooms, saying this is a violation of Section 10 of the Constitution, where victims have got to literally make do of parking spaces. You know, that's where they wait. There are no waiting rooms. There are no consultation rooms. Are these going to be built? How is that issue going to be addressed?
Yeah, that depends. That's on a court-by-court basis. Some courts have got more space, others don't. So in some courts, the clerks who are assisting with the protection orders are able to interview the complainant in their office. Yes, they would still be waiting outside on a bench, but at least that's a section for domestic violence. But at least the interviews would be private. There is a court building program of new courts being opened, as was raised in the media conference this morning. Obviously, that is dependent on a sufficient budget. But I think the key issue is we've got to do the best we can with what we've got, and we've got to ensure the best possible service to members of the public. Yeah.
Do you know, Deputy Minister, I mean, the extent of the HR gaps, the vacancies, because it seems to be part of the contributing factors in terms of, one, lack of assistance when it comes to reading some of the forms and people getting a proper explanation of what needs to happen, but two, also contributing to the long waiting times, which I suppose if you look at the issue of Ms. Kortje, it could have been part of the contributing factors.
Well, there isn't. You can walk into a court and walk out with a protection order on the same day, within a few hours. So a lot would depend on the number of people who've come looking for protection orders. But once the forms are filled up, they would go to a magistrate fairly speedily to go through and see if all the elements have been met and to grant at least an interim protection order. So that is happening. And as far as vacancies, yes, again, because of pressures from the fiscus, there are some vacancies that can't be filled, but the percentage of vacancies is actually relatively low. We've been able to keep that under control.
So you're saying you'd be able to explain then to to the public protector that her recommendation is not particularly, I wouldn't say necessary, but not an urgent one in terms of HR capacity, which she's raising very strongly?
Look, we need to, the key issue with this report is that we need to ensure that the service at each specific court is what it should be. And each specific court would be different. So some would have space problems, others won't have that so much. Some of them may have fewer staff than they should have, particularly with regard to the numbers of applications coming in for protection orders for gender-based violence or domestic violence. So it's something that needs to be addressed, and that's what's good with the report is the department is going to have to go and look at each court and see the services that are being offered there. It's often said that we have good laws, good policies. The problem is the implementation. This report is getting to the root of implementation and assisting the Department of Justice in ensuring that implementation is as optimal as it can be.
So from what I'm hearing, maybe it's my understanding of what the report is saying and what your understanding is, that could be differing. It seems the public protector says, come up with a standard model or a standard for a model court in terms of efficiency, in terms of economics, in terms of effective use of resources. Saying that if I go to one court, there should be a consistency in terms of that expectation throughout the courts.
Yes, obviously that is correct. There should be a standard model, but it would differ from court to court. So if you go to a court in an urban area where there's more people, it's going to be a bit different to a rural court where there's, for example, only one courtroom, one magistrate who has to sit in court in the morning and then look at protection orders over his lunch break or her lunch break. So it would differ from place to place. I think it's a similar issue to what we have with the sexual offences courts. The problem over their designation has now been resolved with the passing of the and coming into effect of the Judicial Matters Amendment Act. But there are regulations which set out the medium requirements for a sexual offences court wherever they are. So it would be something similar to that.
Yeah. And the issue of an audit, seemingly that is required, is that something that you already have conducted, that you have readily available?
Look, I can't remember the Director General's response on that point, but it's something that, as I understand it, would be conducted to ensure that we know exactly what is happening at each court as far as the facilities on gender-based violence.
Deputy Minister, we appreciate your time and thank you very much for coming on this evening. Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, John Jeffery, on the report issued by the Public Protector and some of those recommendations there.